Hello and a big welcome to all of you. Congratulations, guys. We finally hit our first milestone of 50 subscribers on YouTube.
Yes,
Yeah, let's
big
go.
achievement for us. Baby
Yes, it's a
steps, but
big
we're.
achievement.
Yeah,
Baby steps, but we're on the right track.
yeah.
Exactly.
Thanks to all our viewers as well who have subscribed to the channel.
Yeah. I mean, all of us are extremely happy, especially on the bench, but one of us is way more happy than the rest, and that person is facing PSG next month. So he's on the easy side of the draw. So we'll start this episode by getting his thoughts. So we'll be done with that part.
Yeah, I mean, I still remember the previous episode how you asked me about what I would think if I was playing PSG, and
Yeah,
that's exactly how it turned out. And I mean, I'm so happy. Not because, of course, PSG are a very good team and they're very capable of knocking us out, and we are the underdogs in that tie. But having said that, we avoided the major portion of the draw. The City, Madrid, Bayern, and Arsenal are away from us. So PSG is the only team that's standing in our way to possibly what could be a UCL final. Because Atletico and Dortmund, they're very strong, good teams, deserve to be there, no doubt. But I do not think if we were to face them, I would be that worried that we can't beat them, especially over two legs. Maybe away from home, we just grab a draw, something like that. But coming back to the tie itself, PSG, of course, Mbappe is the biggest threat there. And if we can somehow nullify him, I do think we have a genuine shot. And like I was discussing with Avinash, you can't be too greedy, right? I would ideally want PSG also to be on the other side. I wouldn't mind Arsenal being in this side of the draw. So it's us, Arsenal, Atletico, and Dortmund on one side. But again, you can't be too greedy. It's the UCL, so anything can happen. Having said that, I think we deserve this rub of green to go our way after so long of not being in the quarterfinals at all. We are in a position where potentially, touch wood, I don't want to say it, but we have a easier path to the finals of the Champions League. So I mean, and it's in Wembley, right? So like, I mean, it's somewhere written somewhere that we could make it there. But yeah, PSG, great fixture. I think the entire quarterfinal draw, right? Four brilliant fixtures. Most, I would say, the most balanced draw, except the Arsenal Bayern game. I think it's the most balanced draw because City and Madrid, clear title favorites. Atletico and Dortmund, clear outsiders. Arsenal and I mean Barca and PSG, two good but flawed teams. I think Arsenal Bayern is the only game. But having said that, I think Bayern, it won't be a cakewalk for Bayern as well because they're been they've been struggling throughout, and Arsenal are, like Avinash said, they're going to play with that freedom of not having the pressure. But I feel that would have been the case for any other team. But playing against Bayern, there is that baggage of those heavy losses. Same thing that would have happened to us if I was playing Bayern, right? I wouldn't be scared of the game itself because I would think we would be able to beat Bayern. But it's the baggage that we get on the field with knowing that this team was the team that has given us so much trauma in the past, right? So that mental barrier is what I think Arsenal will have to cross. But the four fixtures, brilliant fixtures, the Madrid City game, it's a bigger game than the UCL final itself. So I mean
yeah.
that is going to be one hell of a game. I can't wait next month. Incoming, I mean, what 4 plus 4, 8 fixtures, right? It's going to be absolutely amazing, and it's there for the taking for anyone who stands up on that day and says, let's go for this, let's go for the kill. So I think it's going to be a wonderful stage of the tournament, and
Correct.
we'll
One.
see how it goes. Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful stage of the tournament.
Wonderful. I'm not as thrilled as you are for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Because for those who haven't watched the previous episode where Amitesh asked the question about PSG and sorry, where Amitesh asked the question of Madrid and City facing each other, where Ashwin
Yeah.
talks about Barca facing PSG, where I talk about how I don't want Arsenal to play Bayern. It's all just happening. It's all
Yeah,
just happening in one
exactly.
round of fixtures.
Exactly. It's like
That
crazy,
episode was
man.
like the perfect precursor for the quarterfinal draw.
Yeah,
Exactly. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah,
it was insane how much of it really actually matched up.
And I
exactly.
think we jinxed Madrid enough for them not to get Dortmund,
Dortmund,
Borussia.
yeah.
The other Madrid ended up getting Dortmund. And my hopes of wanting to play a Madrid team didn't work in the quarters. But yeah, so semis, forget it. It's not happening. But again, it's not going to be a 10-2. It's not going to be a cakewalk, like you
Yeah,
said. But again, you said Arsenal have to cross that mental trauma of Bayern over the years and compete to even think about defeating them. We are not there yet. I can assure you, we are not there yet. But it will be a good match to watch. As an Arsenal fan, I expect to see some good football, and I think that this is progress now. Us reaching quarters is progress. I don't necessarily need us to win this quarter round to prove anything. As long as we give Bayern a run for the money, like losing 3-2 combined, losing by one goal in those two legs together, or going there and coming out with respect, holding our heads up high and walking out. I think that is some progress for this team, for this, yeah, at least for this round, okay? Because it is what it is. We are on the hard side of the table, but I would rather, like I said in the previous episode, I would rather be on this side than on the other side,
Yeah.
because now there is a weight on Barca. They have to reach the finals. There is going to be that baggage that if they don't reach the finals, it's like, you had the easy draw. You weren't even on the other side of the group, so the least you could do is reach the finals and then inshallah. But now I don't think that's the case. There is that baggage, and if Arsenal was in that side of the group, then that baggage would be there on us too, I feel, or at least it would be there in my head that, oh, we need to reach the finals because I think we can. But now I don't see that happening. It's okay. Anything from here on is a free hit that we get. That's it. But apart from the Arsenal Bayern fixtures, I'm looking forward to PSG Barca, to be honest with you. I think that'll be a very good fixture. I think
Yeah.
I'm really, really looking forward to it. Of course, going into that, I would expect Barca to win, but PSG will
Oh,
come
So see,
good. PSG will come good.
that's what I wanted to ask. I mean, when you're saying that Barca is expected to win against PSG, I don't feel so. I
absolutely
really
not.
don't. And okay, our generation, maybe okay, who have seen Barca over the last 10 years, maybe they've still got that sentimentality and that emotion which Ashwin has. But this currently people who are like like say us when we were 10 years back, if we had just gotten into football now, I don't think there's any way in hell anyone would be saying that Barca would be winning over PSG at this point in time. I don't think they're the
Exactly.
favorites at all.
Exactly. Like Amitesh said, right? I mean, if you look back, PSG have beaten us quite a few times, even in the recent past. So it's not we are not the favorites. PSG are definitely the better team compared to the individual quality that they have, and just the way they have been playing overall. Having said that, the reason why Barca fans all over the world are happy is one, of course, they're on the easier side of the draw, and two, of all the teams that we could have faced, PSG is probably the most inconsistent. You never know what you're getting with PSG. That is the only reason where we have hope. It's not that we are expecting we will beat PSG. Like I said, we are the underdogs in that tie, and of course there will be that thing that what if agar if we had beaten PSG, what could have happened? Could we have gone through in case we don't win? Like you said, the baggage. But having said that, on the day, it's still going to be. I don't know. I 50. I wouldn't say 50-50, but 60-40 to PSG for sure. Because you don't bet against Mbappe, man. You just don't.
He's one of those players, he just shows up on the big stage and you know
Yeah,
he's going to perform.
exactly. But the reason why it's looking like Barca fans all over the world are excited is because of all the teams we could have faced. This is definitely the so-called easier tie in this bracket. Of course, Dortmund would have been the easiest tie, but if I had to take another team apart from Dortmund, I would say Arsenal. But many fans would say PSG as well, because Arsenal are at least consistently they're playing well, the top of the PL. PSG very up, very down. Like one week they win 5-0, the other week they struggle to get draws against some, I don't know, Nice and Stade Rennes and all those kind of teams. So you never know what you're getting with them. They come onto the pitch and you just absolutely are not sure. One day they turn up, they play some amazing football, they destroy teams black and blue, and they beat them so bad Mbappe can be substituted after 60 minutes, 70 minutes at that level. And there are some games where the ball just refuses to go in for them. They can play 500 minutes on that match, and I guarantee they will not score a goal. So you just don't know with PSG, right? So that is the reason why we are happy, not because we think we are the better team. I mean, we are the team that is sure shot going to progress. Like say for Madrid City, you just know it's a 50-50, clear 50-50.
Yeah.
Say Atletico Dortmund, you would probably say 50-50 to an extent as well. Arsenal Bayern, just because of the history, you would probably give the tie to Bayern. But playstyle wise and form wise, I still think Arsenal are in with a good shout, especially if they can get a good result at the Emirates, right? They can go back to the Allianz Arena, try to, that's exactly what I want Barca to do. We are playing away from home the first leg. That is so important. Like, we got that side of the draw as well. That is also very important to me. And even in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
semi-finals, we are playing away from home in the first leg. I
If you
feel
reach,
if you're playing away from home in the first leg, it's a huge advantage to you because you can go there, you can play as the underdog, you can play as the smaller team. Fine, you come away with a one goal loss or a draw, just stay in the tie. You bring it back home, second leg pressures, make the stadium the that atmosphere, make sure the players feel that they're coming to to play Barcelona, and you never know what happens, and that's exactly what happened. The first leg, it was a very even Stevens game. Napoli were in it, Barca were in it. It was fine. We stayed in. Second leg, we came out. Napoli was shell shocked. We blew them away in 20 minutes. Of course, we conceded the goal, but overall, we were easily the better team, right? So I think that's what Arsenal should also aim for, and any team that's away from home in the first leg should aim for, unless until there's a clear favorite. Say Madrid were
yeah,
playing, I don't know, Madrid were playing Dortmund away from home. I would expect Madrid to go out and kill the game in that first leg itself. Get that 4-0 victory, get that final victory. But when it's a evenly matched team, at least for me, I would be like, focus on defense first. Have that mentality of not losing that tie in the first leg. Bring it into the second leg, and then you never know what will happen, especially back in your own home ground. So that is the reason why I'm very happy with PSG, not because I feel like we will definitely beat PSG or qualify to the Champions League final, but yeah, definitely the easier path, and let's see how it goes.
I
Yeah,
think for the Bayern Arsenal game, I think it's exciting for me. Like, I want to see how Harry Kane is against Arsenal now. Like,
yeah.
he's always great against Arsenal, no matter what happens. I mean, he's always great. Avinash, you'll know. It's like infuriating how good he is against you guys. I mean, when he was at Spurs at least. So I think, do you think the Spurs left in him is like you're going to get reinvigorated when he faces you guys in the Champions League? What do you think?
No, I think the Spurs in him is what's going to be the reason we have a good chance in this tie. Yeah, nothing else. I'm done speaking. That's all I have to say. But do we see an El Clasico finals in the making? I mean, if both teams play the cards right or do what's expected, it could very
Could
well.
be, could be. I
Yeah,
mean,
it
I
would
still
be.
give the tie. I still give that tie to City for the sole reason that defending champions, they beat Madrid. Same thing, Madrid have that trauma of having suffered their worst loss in the Champions League in a long time to that particular rival, and that too, it'll be fresh in their memories. It was just last season. It's not like it was
True.
an old game, or it was not like it was a completely different set of players. It's the exact same players who are coming back. So it's
Correct.
like you have for Barca and Bayern at least most of the Barca players don't even know the trauma of facing Bayern Munich or what happened to us. We just have that baggage with us, but we don't know the trauma of that game. Most
Guessing
of
it,
these are
yeah.
youngsters, so we just have like a point to prove kind of thing. Same thing
Exactly.
if you extrapolate it to that game, it's just like it's the same players. You see the same play style. You see the same dominance. You're like, oh, that those doubts start to creep in. Can we, do it this time round? But again, Madrid. I think Guardiola yesterday after the draw, he said he called Madrid the kings of the Champions League, and definitely I would agree with that. You
Yeah,
never
rightfully
count out Madrid. Like there are many Instagram pages and all who are saying like, "Oh, Madrid are gone. City will thrash them." I'm like, dude, yes, City are probably like 2% favorites, but you're talking about Madrid, and as much as I, as a Barca fan, hate to say it, Madrid are the kings of the Champions League. They just know how to pull it off in the Champions League. Something happens to them. What happens, I don't know, but something happens. They know how to pull it off. So I would never count them out. Having said that, El Clasico final, yeah, very much possible. But I would give that tie to City so far. But I think the predictions we can still make. We still have a little bit of time. So let's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
go there. But yeah,
exactly.
it could very well be a good. I mean, whatever the final is, I'm pretty sure it's going to be an amazing final because the one side of the this thing will be the absolute favorites, and the teams coming out of these four will be the clear underdogs. So it's going to
Yeah,
be like a what do you call a David versus Goliath battle at in the final for sure.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, long way to go for that. Let's see how it is. Just looking at these quarterfinal ties, right? It just it makes me think like, why did they have to change the format of the Champions League? Because if you guys know, the UCL format is changing next season. So
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just like,
man.
the games that have given us, I mean, that have been given to us in the quarterfinals, why would you want to change something that works? Like, why would you want to do that? So I don't know. Like, I mean, what do you guys have to say about it?
So when I came across this news that this is how it's going to be from next year onwards, initially I was like, okay, you know what? It's something new, it's something different, where they're going to be deciding the top 8 teams based on the rankings, and the ones who are from 9 to, is it 24, that they're going to have to, um, it's 9 to 24, right? Where they're going to have to play each other and then the next 8
So
come out.
basically, just for the people who might not know the entire thing, so there's going to be 36 teams
Mhm.
that are, and each team is going to play I think 8 games, 4 at home
Mm.
and 4 away. But those 8 games can be out of any of those 36 teams. It'll be drawn by a computer. I guess 4 will be seeded and 4 will be non-seeded, something like that. But those eight games will not be, in a particular group or amongst particular teams. It'll just be 4 home and 4 away. That
Right.
4 home and 4 away can be against any team. It's not like the
Anyone.
home team has it's not like reverse fixtures and all. So after those 8 games, the top 8 will qualify directly for the round of 16, and 9 to 24 will have playoffs to see who reaches the remaining 8 teams who qualify for the round of 16. And then the same thing, continues: round of 16, quarterfinals, semifinals, finals.
But this is so much more exhaustive, don't you think, for the teams? I mean,
Exactly.
in an already jam-packed schedule, it's just overly exhausting, I feel, for the players. If you don't fit into the top 8, you come between that 9 to 24. Again, you go through a whole set of games just to reach that stage again. And then again,
Yeah.
you've got the pressure of the
Right. Right.
round of 16. Together with that, you've got your own domestic cup and your own domestic league to win. You're obviously
It's
one of the
really
top
tough.
teams in those leagues to, like, get into this thing. So it's just too many matches, I would say. And early fatigue for the teams who fall in that 9 to
Absolutely.
24.
For sure. But there is this other side where you have so many games, so you're going to have to rotate your squad. So you're going to be giving a lot more of your players chances. And not only that, your Champions League exposure doesn't end in 3 matches or 6 matches in that particular group. You go 8 matches, you go 4 times to away stadiums, and you're going to play 4 home games. So even if you're the worst possible team playing, you would still be playing 8 Champions League games that season. Correct? And based on this particular league, they're going to be deciding the top 24 and the top 8 based on that. So I think it's going to be a lot more. What do you say? The top teams, the teams that actually win all those games, will be on top, and their chance of drawing against a team, another top team, are going to be much lesser.
Okay.
You have your UEFA teams qualifying the top 8 and your Europa teams who are going to qualify in the next 8, and so on. You get what I'm trying to say. The
Okay.
qualification will be based on a lot more matches, and there's going to be a lot more proof that these teams deserve to be at the top, or these teams deserve to be in the top 24. Agreed, it's a lot of matches, it's a lot of extra games that they have to play, but I guess that's where your squad rotation and your investment in youth, making the right transfers in the market, all come to play. See, football is a game that's always evolving, correct? The tactics that work before aren't going to work now. You can't have your main 11 play the entire season. What happens if there's an injury? That's what happened to Arsenal last year. We tried to make this particular perfect template, and when one player dropped out, we struggled, right?
Yeah.
The entire thing crumbled. So we're going to have to come up with multiple plans. We're going to have to incorporate our Oscar Bobs, our Elliots, and all of those kind of people. Give them more time so they're also exposed to these kind of formats of the game. I think it will be interesting. It is something new. It is going to be difficult for us as fans to accept or adapt to this particular style of play. But hey, it's a lot more Champions League matches for us to watch.
That's
Yeah.
true. I was reading something about this thing called seeding, where the top two teams somehow don't come on the same sides of the tie, and somehow they only end up playing as the final. So I don't know if that's actually true. So if any of you guys could clarify
Yeah,
that, I was.
it's a little bit of, yeah, there is a little bit of ambiguity. Even I'm not very sure, but like this league, the whole point of this league phase is, one, of course, forget the revenue bit of it. Obviously, they're going to generate a lot more revenue and all of that. So the two things, what I feel is the main thing is, like Avinash said, one is more games, so more opportunities, more tinkering and all of that. And two, so basically, what was happening till now was with all the country protection, and you can't have these teams in certain groups, and because of the complete seeding, all teams were seeded, seed 1, seed 2. So
Yeah, yeah,
you would definitely have probably one group of death, and the remaining groups you would
yeah.
probably be able to say these two teams will qualify,
Your
and
favorites, yes.
two teams in each group would be like, I'm sorry to say this, but definite losers, like they cannot qualify kind of teams. So what this league stage they're trying to do is they're trying to give us these quarter final type of games, so to speak,
Okay, a little
but in
early.
the initial stages only. So when the seeded teams are picked against seeded teams, you're going to have like City versus Barcelona in the league stage of the Champions League itself. So even though it's not like the deciding factor, it is still a big
It's
game
a good
in
game, man.
August. It's a
Yeah,
big game in October. Because frankly, Champions League picks up in February only.
yeah.
Until December, it's like, most of the
Chalta
teams are
hai.
just going through the motions. These out of 8 groups, you probably know like the outcome of 5 or 6 groups. Only one or two groups are decided in the last match day. Like, how the group of death this time with the PSG, Newcastle, AC Milan. That probably group was the only thing. Apart from that, you pretty much know, these two teams will definitely make it through.
Mhm.
So what they're trying to do is like probably take away. I mean, this is my interpretation. They're trying to take away from that and make Champions League interesting in September, in October, so that gets more eyeballs. Obviously, more eyeballs means more revenue and all of that. And yeah, like coming back to the seeding question, yeah, there is a little bit of ambiguity. Even I'm not exactly sure, but there is something that if you're higher up in the league, you get a lot of advantages. Like you get home in the second leg. You also don't face the immediate above team
Yeah, that's
until
what.
a particular stage.
Until later
They have a
stages.
lot of yeah, they have a lot of basically this thing incentives basically to make sure
Okay,
that you take those September games and October games seriously.
seriously. Okay.
It's basically like saying Barca versus Copenhagen, right? If
Hmm.
that game was in September in the group stage, in between two league fixtures, Barcelona are going to rotate. You're not going to have the big team playing in that in the main thing. Same goes for
Hmm.
City. You'll have your Bobs and you'll have your Nuneses and all those players playing in that game. Now what they're trying to do is, even if it's that game, you want to make sure that you get those 3 points for sure, because those it'll make a lot of difference in where you stand at the end of the league.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
even 1 point, 2 points will make a huge difference, because right now in group stages, people are just trying to qualify. First, get to round of 16, then we'll see. Here, it's like
We'll see.
you have to get to round of 16, yes, but you have to get to it handsomely because you have those incentives to have, the extra perks. And I think, even I'm not very sure, but I think if you finish higher, you get a higher percentage of the money as well.
Okay.
Uh, so that also makes a lot of difference, especially for financially unstable clubs like Barca itself, for that matter. The higher we finish, the more further we go in the competition. It's like it's
That's
a big
very nice.
incentive
Yeah.
for us to
A
like
big incentive.
solve our
Very
financial
lucrative.
issues. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like Avinash said, the very good point is out of 36 teams, right? When you have between 9 to 24 still competing, it's not just 16 good teams that are there. The smaller teams will also come into play in that second phase where the teams are playing 9 and 24. Get it? So
Yeah.
there will be 12 absolutely bad teams that get knocked out, but in that 9 to 24 will be those fairy tale teams who have the chance to cause an upset.
Yeah.
In the group stage, that might not have been the case, because over 6 games you might not have them playing the exact same way what you would have them playing in that one do or die play
Hmm.
in kind of game. This is pretty much what NBA did with the play in tournament, right? So
Right, right,
before, it
right.
used to be like the top 8 qualify for the playoffs and the rest of them are chucked out. Now it's
Yeah.
like top 6 qualify for the playoffs and the next 4 teams play a one-off play-in game.
Hmm.
So you have 10 spots out of the 15 in each conference, still wanting like having some incentive, having some
Yeah, yeah.
you know thing to play for. So with the
Great.
more teams
Basically,
want to play for something, it automatically leads to more eyeballs, more games, more big games in September only. Imagine City versus Madrid in September. It'll be like, okay, you'll want to watch the Champions League more and more. From let's just take me for example, in the group stage, right? I would never like I would be like, they will anyway qualify, so I would skip a few games. I would not watch, and I'm pretty sure there are many people like me all over the world. So now it's like they'll give you unskippable games like, oh, you have to watch the Champions League right from the word go. You're keeping track of the table. You have your calculators out. You're like, okay, goal difference, points. This
Yeah.
team beats that team. That team beats this team. Then only we can qualify in the top eight. It just makes it interesting. And Amitesh,
Interesting.
it gets the juices flowing. So it's very nice.
Yeah.
Juice is flowing.
You see,
Yeah, juices are flowing.
Picking up from where Ashwin left off, Ashwin, you were speaking about how in the current format, how you have 8 groups, and in 8 groups you have two clear favorites to qualify and two average teams, where one is
Mm,
probably a Europa type and one is a pure shit team,
mm.
right? But there are also groups like the group of death, right? Like where there was PSG, there was your
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, there was so I if it was this the next format, right, which UEFA is moving to, if this same group were there, teams like Newcastle would have still had a chance, and I would be so excited to watch
Exactly my
them play
point.
in that
Yeah.
9 to 24. You know, shit teams like United may have had a chance in that 9 to 24, or they would have got kicked out
Mhm.
for all you know. But
Exactly.
they still have another chance. They don't have to move to Europa just yet, right? And so that's the thing. So if you finish third, you have a chance of going to Europa in the previous format. But now Europa will also have a whole new different thing that's happening there. You have
Yeah.
teams that are exclusive for Europa, right? And
I
or
think
is it
more than the top eight, right? This format, what it does, see, your cities, your Madrids are still going to qualify in the top eight. What is very interesting is the 9 to 24 bracket, right? That is where the
exactly,
game changer lies for me.
exactly,
That 9 to 24 will have all your, so-called, like Avinash said, the Europa teams, but with a point to prove because they, in that
Can
one
do it.
playing game, they can, qualify to the round of 16 as well. So I think that is where the key differentiator in this lies because your top eight, you're not going to have Madrid fighting for a 9 to 24 spot. Same goes for City, same goes for probably Bayern. These teams will be there. But that 9 to 24 will have teams like, Copenhagen maybe, or just teams who are not good enough to beat the top eight, but not as bad to, completely get out of the Champions League. Like they just need to be
yeah,
given a chance. And this format gives them a chance, like Avinash said.
I think that, like, yeah, now that you guys have explained it, that 9 to 24 things, it seems great. I mean, like, lot of more viewership. Like from a UEFA standpoint, to generate more revenue, I think it's great. But at the end of the day, like Ashwin said, I mean, the teams that are going to make it are going to make it in the top eight. That's for sure, and that's why you'd want to be, regardless of whether you're playing, watching a Madrid City game in September. At the end of the day, you know that those teams are going to end up coming to it in February or May when it actually matters more, right? So I think that regardless, those teams are going to make it. 9 to 24 again. Those small teams, I wouldn't call them small teams. They've reached the Champions League. They're obviously not small teams, but it will be interesting for sure. Definitely interesting. It will be interesting to see how they pull it off. But I'm still concerned about the squad depth and everything, because
Yeah, right.
see
That'll be
the
interesting to see how they
no,
rotate them.
because see, Ashwin, like you said, there are these not so great teams. If you compare, let's say, City's squad depth with Copenhagen's squad depth, it's not comparable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, so if you've got both these teams playing the same number of fixtures over a set period of time with the league and domestic cup, I'm sure Copenhagen can just go through it and be run out of it through fatigue itself, regardless of how good the football they play is.
Yeah,
Okay, it may not
that's
matter
also
as
right.
much to it may not matter as much to the teams who've got deep pockets, who can, like, back up a huge squad.
Mm.
And Avinash, you said, like, you need to learn how to rotate. So let me ask you, if you were, like, let's say, manager at Arsenal right now, and you are in the Champions League next year, and you don't have a huge squad depth, right? I wouldn't say your squad depth is amazing. I mean, I don't think you could confidently say that we have an Arsenal A team and we've got an Arsenal B team, and the B team is almost as good as the A team to compete at the Champions League level. So how
Hmm.
would you go about rotating it through Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Premier League, and Champions League? How would you, like, approach it?
100%, it's a Herculean task, no doubt. No team's going to get it right in the first attempt. But I think what this Champions League format is going to do is it's going to promote your academies. It's going to promote a lot more grassroots development. It's going to make you recruit players at a much younger age, or bring them into the team, or start giving them a lot more chances right from the word go. Agreed, some teams will not have squad depth, so because of that they will be forced to increase their squad depth. See, Arsenal will have to form an A team and a B team, At that point, there is no choice. When push comes to shove, you're going to have to deal with it. So we won't get it right in the first attempt or the second attempt. But how I see it is, if I were the manager, there would be what, 8 games that I'd have to play next season, out of which 4 will be very difficult and 4 should be comparatively easy. Correct. So
Right.
of course, the 4 difficult games, I would definitely have my A team out, and depending on how well I'm doing in those games, I could decide on how to bring about the B team test. It's not necessary that it has to be a complete different 11 that's playing the second set of matches, right?
Agreed,
It could
agreed.
Yeah,
just be
some kind
boys
of
who I
rotation.
feel, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There'll be a lot of rotation, and that's where I'll be promoting more of my youth to play in cups like Carabao or the FA. Bring my second team goalkeeper to keep for those kind of matches. Rest my very, very important players, the ones who are going to make a big difference in those kind of games where I don't have to play them against AFC, Wimbledon, or Portsmouth necessarily,
Exactly. Yeah,
and
exactly.
put them more into where these matches that they are absolutely needed. And it's, again, it's a big process, but if this is the format that's going to come, then we'll all just need to find ways to adapt to it however we do. And I see a lot of academies flourishing from here on. I feel a lot more emphasis, or a lot more scouts are going to be looking at these players to recruit them, even if not for if even if an Arsenal player at the age of 16 is not going to join the Arsenal A team, they could probably join another team that's probably come and approached Arsenal to give them this player right now.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But then again, it's a like you said, Herculean task for any club. However, I still think that there would be possibly 5 to 6 clubs in the world who are set for this. Like their
Yeah.
system is set for this. Like City is set for this. They will flourish regardless. It's not a Herculean task for them. Madrid will flourish regardless. It's not a Herculean task for them. So I think that some clubs, they are set for this system, but it will be very interesting to see how, other clubs, adapt to this. Like you said, Avinash, it's going to be fun to watch, and definitely a challenge for any manager.
For sure. I just had
Yeah.
one more question before we wind up. So eight teams we're going to be facing, correct? 4 will be home fixtures and 4 away. The away tie, it's not necessary that it will be the same team you're playing home and away,
No, no,
right?
no.
It will be 8 completely different teams.
Yeah, it can. It's complete. So basically, what I read and what I heard just before this draw is that they're going to use the like only the thing will be manual. If the draw will be completely computerized. So those
Okay.
8 teams can be completely 8 different teams. Also, it can be like one overlapping team also. But there is, like Amitesh said, there is some seeding criteria. It's not like completely like you cannot play the good teams and all, but
Yeah,
there is
yeah, yeah.
some particular seeding where you have to play 4 good teams and 4 bad teams. I mean, unseeded teams
Right,
basically.
right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
home or away will be completely like it'll be fully randomized. So you don't know who's playing home, who's playing away, which team you're playing home, which team you're playing away. But it will be 4 good teams, and as in seeded teams, and 4 just unseeded teams,
Yeah.
something like that. It's basically like this W Test, I mean, World Test Championship, like how in cricket, right? You have to
Yeah, the
play
seed.
3 series away, you have to play three,
Correct.
three
Yeah,
series home, and it'll automatically be like different caliber of teams. You will
yeah.
end up playing the likes of Australia, England,
Zimbabwe.
New Zealand also, but you will also end up playing Bangladesh, West Indies, and these teams
Hello.
also.
Bangladesh is a crazy team, okay?
Oh,
Look at him getting
wow.
all defensive.
Yeah.
That was just
Don't
to
go
rile
out with
Avinash up.
the
That was just to rile Avinash up.
But yeah.
war.
But regardless, that is still next year. I think this year itself, we have a lot to look forward to in terms of the Champions League.
Where do these extra 4 teams come from? We have 36 right now, right? So where do the extra
Yeah,
four
so
come from?
based on the coefficient of each league, there will be 4 teams allotted to them specifically. 2 teams, I think 2 teams will come from like the lower leagues only, and 2 will
Okay.
go to the higher, the better coefficient. So basically, uh, it depends on who does well this year also. That's
Correct.
why,
So that's where
if you
the
remember, Alan was saying like he wants Arsenal to reach a particular level, then United will
yes.
get one extra spot. So it's basically
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
Right now, it's Germany and Italy, as far as I'm informed, and I saw yesterday.
Okay.
Germany and Italy are put right now in the lead to get the extra spots. So it also depends on how well Dortmund and Bayern Munich do also. I don't think there's any Italian team left in the Champions. Oh, it also matters how those particular teams are doing in the Europa League and Europa Conference League also.
Right.
So it's like an entire coefficient system, like based on if you win a game, you get 1 point. If you draw a game, you get half a point, something like that. But basically, how your league team performs in the previous years, this thing will be ranked. And because you need four extra teams, you will get two extra teams from this Germany. I mean, from the top two of the coefficient. And as far as I know, I might be wrong. Two teams will come from some lower league that is decided by some other ranking as well. Even I'm not extremely sure of that.
Okay.
But yeah, it is a very ambiguous thing right now. But like I said, we have a lot to look forward to this season only. Okay, Avinash, maybe for me a little bit more further than you do, but it's
Yeah.
still, two good games for sure. At least April 9th and 10th and 16th, 17th, we are in for a treat. Post that,
100%.
we'll see how it goes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it'll be nice having all United fans backing Arsenal. Oh my God. I can't wait for that.
Yeah. The Arsenal have to be, especially Arsenal have a lot to do with it because they are playing a German team, and Germany are
Right.
currently number one in the
Right.
coefficient. This thing. So if Arsenal beat a German team, it's like a double victory because
Huge
you
thing. Huge
you
thing.
gain a point also, and you make sure Germany don't get a point also. So
Yeah.
that's going to be fun. That's definitely going to be fun. Let's see
Definitely.
what the United fans have to say about Arsenal and City, especially City also are there. No, like the two teams that are remaining in the Champions League and the
Yeah.
one team that is competing in the Europa League. These are three teams that they absolutely hate: City,
Wait.
Arsenal, and Liverpool. And now they have no choice. It just shows how far they've fallen. That just to get to the Champions League, they're crying for the three rivals to do well in their
For do well, yeah.
European expression. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. But that's what the Champions League does to you. You start rooting for teams that you would probably never root for
Never root for
otherwise,
exactly.
and that's the beauty of this league, and that's why it's considered to be like one of the greatest tournaments out there. So
For
it's
sure.
definitely going to be fun, the games itself, and also the supporters for those games. But let's see how it goes.
All right, guys. That was fun. I'm already
Also,
excited. I can't wait for
Yeah.
3 weeks to just fly by.
And there's no
So then,
football also these 3 weeks to tide you over till that period, man. I don't
oh
know
yeah,
how it's
there's
yeah.
Liverpool City, there's Liverpool United happening tomorrow, 9 p.m. for all of you
Liverpool
people who want.
United FA Cup.
Yeah, FA Cup. Yeah. There's FA Cup happening this
Okay,
weekend, and
okay.
your Spurs is playing tonight. They're playing Fulham in Premier League.
My Spurs. Oh no,
Your
this
Spurs.
dude. This week we're sorted. Sunday there's Atletico versus Barca also. So I'm
Oh,
sorted till this Sunday. But that 15-day international break, it's like it's a waste only. There's nothing to do.
I know,
you
I
go
know, I
watch
know.
international football.
It's
There
okay,
will be
guys.
no episode on.
For all of you who are also very upset that there's no football in 15 days, we have 13 episodes on this particular podcast
Yes,
channel. So please watch them, subscribe, like,
binge watch,
follow,
binge watch.
binge watch, and share and comment and
Yeah.
everything you possibly can. We will be back with more content very regularly. So until then, stay safe, take care, and see you on the next one.
See you guys. Bye.